Well, hello and welcome to Lord of the Board. My name is Sam, and it has been a while. As you can see, I am in a different space. This is not a finished space. We're still working on it, and I just wanted to come on here, even though my space wasn't finished, to talk with you guys about the deck of Ahoy, which is such a weird thing to like come back to, but here's the thing, my channel has never really been a conventional channel. I just like to talk about the things that are currently interesting me. So I've got kind of some notes pulled up, and I've got the market deck right here. It's a 30 card market deck. And yeah, I've just been really excited about Ahoy lately. I've already played quite a few games of the new expansion that just released, which I've got my copy of, and I'm so very excited to talk more about Ahoy over the course of the summer. So I hope that you guys are also excited about Ahoy. So, I mean, if you have not heard of Ahoy, I actually have 2 videos out about it in pretty good depth, and I'll be doing more videos regarding the different factions and kind of player guides and just all the aspects of it, kind of the root treatment that I gave. I kind of want to do for Ahoy over this summer. It's kind of a passion of mine right now. So yeah, let's talk about the deck. If you've never played Ahoy, or if you have played Ahoy, this might be either interesting to you or just helpful. There are definitely some things that we can gather from the Ahoy deck. This is a 30 card deck, and I remember when I first played Ahoy, I was thinking, wow, that deck's actually really small. Because I mean, if we're comparing it to the root deck of 54 cards, I was thinking it's quite a bit smaller. And then I kind of started thinking about it more, especially with me kind of playing the expansion now. I started thinking about it differently, which was that this is 30 unique cards, whereas Root has duplicate cards in its standard deck. It also has, 20 of those cards are item cards, which are, not really special abilities, they're just craftables. So then I started thinking a little bit more about it and was like, okay, wait a second. This is actually more variable than the Root deck in some ways, because each of these effects are unique, and it's only unique effects. Now, the reason why that is that in Ahoy you don't have hands of cards. In Root you do. You're going to be holding a hand of cards, and so you're going to be drawing into these things, which is why multiples is totally, normal. But in this, it's an open market throughout the game that you can go to certain areas on the board to acquire these with gold or placing a dice, typically. And we have 6 suits, which I might be going crazy, but I don't think I've found what the official name of these suits are. So I dug into the rule book to make sure I wasn't going crazy, and I don't see anything in here. So if somebody knows the official names of these suits, please let me know. The only one that I feel like I have sort of confirmed is within an example on page 15, where it says, you place a die on sail to move your flagship and anchor at Skull Island, because each of the islands in the game are marked with the suits of the game, and I was already thinking that this was going to be the Skull suit. So we'll see if this sticks around, but I basically put names to each of these suits, and obviously the red suit is going to be the Skull suit. So the deck makeup is really, really simple in Ahoy, so this is just some knowledge for you. It's 30 cards, and each of the 6 suits has 5 cards in it. In lower player count games, you randomly remove one of each of the suits, and so it becomes a 24 card deck for 3 and 2 players. But let's kind of look at some of these. So I have kind of information on the total cost of each of the suits, and I think I'll at the end kind of talk about the total cost of suits. But for right now, the Skull suit, which is the red suit, this suit is all about dealing damage and benefiting from dealing that damage, harming opponents in some ways as well. The Mystic, for example, I'll give kind of 3 different cards of each of these to jump around through. But the Mystic is a 1 gold cost card, or 1 treasure cost card. Once per turn, take 1 damage on your player board to deal 1 damage to any figure in your flagship's region, which is awesome. You can deal damage to, an opponent's flagship, or, a patrol, for example. Some really, really good use with the Mystic. Another example would be Gunner's Mate. When you place a die on cannons, your flagship may battle against any space in its region as if it moved there. So a lot more options on battling with the Gunner's Mate there. And then the other one, which one was I wanting to talk about? Powder Monkey, one of my favorite cards. I think it's hilarious. But the Powder Monkey, this one is a dice placement. This one says that when you repair any amount of damage, you may deal 1 damage to any figure in your flagship's region. So you can kind of shoot off damage as you repair with the Powder Monkey, and the artwork is just so darn good. So that is going to be kind of, 3 cards from the Skull Suit, and yeah, the Skull Suit is all about damage and harming opponents. Pretty simple to kind of remember that. If you see the red cards, you're like, okay, well, all of these are going to be manipulation of dealing damage and a little bit of like repairing and then dealing damage. So some fun stuff there. The next suit, which is orange, is going to be the Compass suit. And this suit is all about movement manipulation and benefiting from movement. So a couple of the cards here, Battering Beakhead is kind of fun. When you damage an enemy figure, you may move it 1 space. It cannot move off the map. It ignores battle, harbors, and treasure. So this one, you're basically, it's still movement manipulation, but when you battle, you're pushing opponents' pieces away, which is a really fun concept. A lot of them, like the Sailor and the Trawler, these 2 crabs, they essentially allow you to place a dice and get some extra movement. One of them gives you 1 through 3 spaces of movement, and then the other one allows you to move 1 or 2 spaces with your flagship, but you can gain any gold as you move, even if you don't anchor there. So really, really good. And then Ghastly Gust, this one's return Ghastly Gust to the box, move your flagship directly to any space. So probably the best movement capability in the game. You can just jump anywhere. And you know what, we're going through these pretty quick. I mean, Whispering Wind here, once per turn, and this is an action, spend 2 gold to move your flagship directly to any space with Tailwind terrain. So all movement related. So if you see the orange suit in the market, you're thinking, okay, that's all gonna be movement stuff. And yeah, movement's very, very important in Ahoy. So I think you'll see an interesting thing that will come up later that we'll talk about that suit. The next suit, I mean, I wanted to say swords, but honestly, it can't be swords, right? This has to be the Cutlass suit because pirates use cutlasses. At least that's what I learned. So I'm pretty sure those are cutlasses. So this is the Cutlass suit, which is fittingly all about battles and benefiting from battles. So you've got cards like the Grogmaster. In battle with your flagship, you may take 1 damage to re-roll your battle die 1 time. If using Secret Weapon, re-roll both dice, which is awesome. We've got the Emissary. On your turn, if you would battle an enemy, you may give them 1 gold to ignore the battle completely. And this is very useful because oftentimes most of this game is tactical puzzles of like trying to move around the sea, and so sometimes you don't want to be moving into like an opponent, so being able to just ignore the battle is real good. That's that. Honestly, you do have like one kind of out of the mix one here, which is the Shipwrights. You repair all of your damage. Still very good. And then in any battle, this is Fighter's card. In any battle, not just with your flagship, you add +1 to your roll. Really, really good. Cut Purse, when you win any battle, not just with your flagship, gain 2 gold. So all of the battle manipulation cards, you see the yellow suit in there, the Cutlass suit, you need to know that those are going to be battle manipulation cards. If you're doing a lot of battles, those would be good cards to pick up and kind of benefit even more off of those battles. The next one is the Palm Tree suit. And the Palm Tree suit is, I guess you could just call it Palm suit, but it's Palm Tree suit. This is all mostly, these are duplicate cards, so I guess I kind of lied, because the Palm Tree suit is the one suit that does have 2 duplicate cards. They have the Comrades and the Officials. So there's 2 Convincing Comrade cards, which you place a die, you can take up to 2 Comrades from any one island and place them on another island. This suit is all about the militant manipulation. So you can manipulate the militant factions, which are the yellow and the blue factions. So these Comrade cards, they both are able to move around those yellow tokens around the board, and that can be played by even the non-yellow player. So kind of manipulating the yellow faction with those. And then the Convincing Officials do the same thing. You can move up to 2 patrols, each 1 or 2 spaces. They ignore battle, so you can mess around with the blue faction, the blue militant faction with these cards, or if you are the blue militant faction, you can basically gain some mobility there with your patrols. And then there's one odd out card, and that's the Naive Noble. This is an action. Return Naive Noble to the box. Steal one crew or cargo from a flagship in your flagship's region. You may tuck it as crew or cargo. Very cool card. It's, I believe, the only way to steal a card in here, but it's very, very rude. And that is the Palm Tree Suit. So yeah, that one is fun. We've also got the Parrot Suit. I could also see an argument for Feather, but I'm almost positive that is Parrot. So this is the blue suit, the Parrot Suit. And this one is all about gold spending, gold gaining, and it also contains my favorite card in the game, and we'll talk about that. But yeah, so we've got the Elder, which says that at the end of your turn, gain 1 gold if you have no damaged die slots. Amazing card, by the way. You've got Aeronauts. While your flagship is at an island, you may spend 1 gold to move it directly to the other island of that suit. Fittingly doesn't name the suit again. Middleman, when you spend gold to change a die value, you may change it by up to 2 gold spent, or by up to 2 per gold spent. Then you've got the Documentarian. At the end of your turn, gain 1 gold if your flagship is in the same region as an enemy flagship. So yeah, all ways to gain gold except this last one, which is my favorite card in the deck, the Sea Witch. If I see the Sea Witch, I'm going to be picking it up. I mean, sometimes not even if I need it. I just really like this card. It's fun to play with. It makes the game board really, really interesting. When your flagship moves off of the map, you may move it directly to the space on the nearest opposite edge for free. So it's very fun, almost like 2D game style when you're playing Mario on a platformer and you go off the map, you end up on the other side. Same deal, but now you're doing that with Ahoy. And it's very, very fun to manipulate that. That one doesn't really fit the rest of that suit very well because it is kind of a movement ability, but I feel like each of these kind of has sort of an odd one out. And then the last suit is the Fish Suit, or Dead Fish Suit. It's the purple suit. And this one probably has some of my favorite artwork of the suits. I love all of the artwork on these weird sea critters. So this suit is all about terrain manipulation. So there are different terrains in Ahoy that you're going to encounter, and this one's all about benefiting off of those terrain. So if you see this in the market, you might want to read it and see, what kind of terrain does this one benefit off of. We've got the Merchant. When your flagship anchors at a harbor, not an island, gain an extra gold. You've got the Sea Dog, which is when your flagship moves into a strong current, you may ignore its effect or move in a different direction. Amazing card. You got the Diver. When your flagship anchors at wreckage, gain an extra gold from its treasure. The Barrelman. When your flagship moves into fog, you may treat it as a strong current going in any direction. Also good. And lastly, the Pilot. When your flagship moves into wreckage, you may ignore its damage. Very good as well. So yeah, just keep an eye out for those cards if you are looking to kind of make full use of the game board. I kind of noticed that there were some natural pairings. For example, the Skull Suit and the Cutlass Suit have a lot of overlap because battle and damage naturally just have overlap. The Compass Suit and the Fish Suit also have a little bit of overlap because movement and terrain, very, very useful to work together. So I did notice that. Gold is just good all the time to gain, so the Parrot Suit just good. Gold's good. But also the Palm Tree Suit, situational, but those cards are pretty much always good. And if you're a militant faction, you want to make sure that you get those cards and not another player. So the moment those cards pop up, if you are playing the Bluefish Squadron or the Blackfish Brigade, you're going to want to get those officials. Like, you do not want an opponent to have those officials and manipulate your patrols. And if you are playing the Shellfire Rebellion or the Mollusk Union, you want to get those comrades. There's just no two ways about it. So this deck, let's talk about the costs of the suits. Just for information's sake, why not throw it in here? I did some small, quick little calculating for everyone watching. So the skull suit sits in, oh, and by the way, if the card has a dice placement ability, it is considered a 3 gold cost card. And I'm taking that from the expansion where there's a lot of that, and just honestly the rules when it's a dice placement, usually the benefit is 3 gold, or payment is 3 gold. So we're just gonna do 3 gold for dice placement because it is expensive. Like dice placement is a whole basically action taken away to get that card. So actually, I'll start from the lowest cost to the highest cost. So Palm Tree sits at the lowest cost suit at 5 gold. Every card is only worth 1 gold each. The next one is going to be the Fish suit, which is 7 gold. And then we've got a two-way tie for third most expensive, the Parrot and the Cutlass suit. Next up is the Skull suit at 9, and the most expensive suit in the game is the Compass suit with a whopping 10 gold cost. So average of 2 per. So that's pretty nutty. And yeah, that is kind of all the information I have. I don't know how useful this is going to be for you, but I think it's always useful to look at the decks like this. I thought this would be a fun video to do, just kind of warm up, get back into making content, and also just to talk about Ahoy because I really am enjoying it. But yeah, like, this is just like useful stuff. So now that when you look at the market during the game, it might give you some like ideas of like, okay, now I know that, you know, if it's red suit, I know that it's gonna manipulate damage. Oh, it's purple suit, this will probably help me with terrain. I don't really care about terrain right now, so I'm not even gonna go read that. I don't wanna, you know, create the brain fog. But really, like, after a couple of games, as you really start studying these, you'll start to remember these abilities really quick because that unique artwork's very iconic, and the abilities are pretty simple to remember. There are some that are very similar with slight twists, and those ones are harder to distinguish, but eventually it'll all come together. And I think that this kind of knowledge just generally improves gameplay, it improves the funness, at least for me. And so I'm glad I was able to share this with you. I hope that it provided any sort of value to you. How are you enjoying Ahoy? Have you played Ahoy? Do you like Ahoy? Are you excited to hear that this is going to be the summer of Ahoy, for me at least? I want to make a lot more content around this. So yeah, if you enjoy this content, please consider subscribing as well as clicking the bell notification. It really, really helps. Thank you so much for being here. Guys, I will see you on the next one. Let's go ahead and drop the beat.